To set the user profile to Radios, Preferences User Profiles is clicked, and Radios Bulk Data User Profile is set. First, a bracket element will be reviewed to identify what type of Radios element it is and to see how it will be formatted in the Radios input file. The Card Editor panel is entered by selecting Card Edit in the Collector's toolbar. The Entity Selector switch is set to LMs, and then a blue bracket element is selected in the Graphics area. Next, Edit is selected to view the card image for the bracket element. The card image for the bracket element appears above the panel menu area. It indicates that the element is a Radios C-Quad4 element type. EID is the element ID, PID is the ID of the element's property, and G1, G2, G3, and G4 are the node IDs that make up the element. Next, the model browser is used to review and edit the card image for the material steel. Right-clicking on steel and selecting Card Edit opens the card image for the material. The card image indicates that steel is a Mat 1 material, and the value of Poisson's ratio is updated to 0.28. Next, a new material collector named Aluminum is created by right-clicking in the model browser and clicking Create Material. The name is set to Aluminum, and the card image is set to Mat 1. The Card Edit Material Upon Creation option is activated, and Create is clicked. E is clicked, and 7.0 E4 is entered for the Young's modulus. Then New is clicked, and 0.33 is entered for Poisson's ratio. Next, a new property will be created using the Properties panel. The Create subpanel is selected, and the prop name is set to Channel. The type is set to 2D. The card image is defined as P-shell, and the material associated to the property is defined as steel. Create Edit is clicked to edit the card image. A thickness value is assigned by clicking on T and entering a value of 3.0. Using the Component panel, the channel property is assigned to the channel component. This is done using the Assign subpanel. The component channel is selected, and for property, the property channel is selected. Then Assign is clicked to assign the property. Next, the bracket property will be updated so that it has a P-shell card image, a thickness of 2.0, and aluminum as the material. To update the Properties panel and then the Update subpanels are selected. The bracket property is selected by clicking on Props and selecting Bracket. The card image is set to P-shell and the material is set to aluminum. Update Edit is clicked to edit the card image and assign the material. Notice that the material ID, MID, is 2, which is the ID of the aluminum material. To edit the thickness value, T is selected and a value of 2.0 is entered. Next, the section properties for the bar elements will be calculated using HyperBeam. To access the HyperBeam panel, Properties HyperBeam is clicked. The Standard Section subpanel is clicked, and Solid Circle is selected for the standard section type. Create is then clicked to launch the HyperBeam module. The HyperBeam module appears, and the solid green circle represents the cross-section. Under Parameter Definition, the radius value is set to 10.0. The value of 10.0 is selected and updated to 3.0. Notice how the data on the right-hand side of the module is updated using a radius of 3.0. Within the model browser, the beam section's name, auto_standard_section.1, is updated to 6mm_beam_sect by right-clicking on the name and selecting Rename. To exit the HyperBeam module, File Exit is clicked. A property collector is created by right-clicking in the model browser and selecting Create Property. The name of the property is set to bars_props, and the P-beam card image is selected. The Material tab is clicked, and Assign Material is activated. For name, steel is selected and Create is then clicked to create the property and edit it. At the top of the card image, BeamSec is selected and 6mm_beam_sec is then selected. The parameter fields in the P-beam card are automatically populated by the data in the beam section. Next, the C-beam elements are updated to use the P-beam property just created. Within the Properties panel, the Assign subpanel is selected. To select the elements, LM's by collector is used from the Extended Entity Selection menu, and the Bolts Component Collector is selected. The type is set to 1D, the property is set to bars_props, and then Assign is clicked to update the selected elements to the P-beam property. Next, the Control Cards panel is entered by clicking Setup, Create, Control Cards. Format is clicked to enter the format card image. Within this card, the number and type of result file formats to be created is selected. For number of formats, a value of 2 is entered. Above in the card image, a second format line appears. The value for the second format is updated to HM. This specifies that a HyperMesh binary results file is created. To export the model, File, Export Solver Deck is clicked to open the export browser. The file type is set to Radios, and then File is selected. The name is set to channel_bracket_sem_loading.fem, and Export is clicked to export the file. The exported .fem file is now ready to be opened in a text editor for inspection if necessary.